Welcome to Fireside Giants. My name is Alex, my co-host Anthony Rivardo, and today we got Dbacks Academy, the man, Brian Walker, here to help break down Jabrill Peppers, James Bradberry in this diverse and unique Giants secondary. What they did to Seattle last week was impressive, limiting Russell Wilson to minimal yardage, really holding down the defensive side of the ball. I think they only let up about 10 points. Incredible performance. And you mentioned before the podcast that Russell Wilson said it looked like they knew the plays were coming. That's just a special thing to see from a defense of this caliber, especially one that we didn't expect to be this talented entering the season. Shout out to Patrick Graham for that. But Brian, my man, I want you to give us a breakdown. What do you do? What is the Dbacks Academy? What kind of support and evidence and practice do you provide these awesome professionals that you've been working with?
Yes. So Brian Walker, based out in the tri-state area. And, originally I'm from Inglewood, went to, Washington State, played football out there. And, the biggest thing for me, a lot of times you have a lot of guys coming in the off season who want to stay consistent and fresh. So I just provide whatever schemes, whatever technique that they want to work on during the season. And if they're coming from high school, college, whatever film study, it's just one-on-one. And it's pretty much like that pitching coach, that batting coach. Just, refining and how often do you get a chance to, work on a micro fraction of certain details and technique. So that's something I've always wanted, just like a quarterback coach. I've played many positions. I was able to play a receiver in college, Division I wise, and able to transition to corner. So I can see both sides of the field. But, that's what I do. I just provide, one-on-one instructions, group instructions, and just I'm very detailed on the little things. So
yeah, absolutely. If you're a young D-back, Brian's the guy you want to be going to because he's a pro's pro. He's teaching the pros and helping them refine their weaknesses and their strengths and making them better players. Like we've seen, he works with Jabrill Peppers, and we've seen Jabrill's playing some of the best football he's ever played in his career right now with the Giants. And you're looking at James Bradberry, and we're going to break down some of this film of this game on week 13 against Seattle. And I'm super excited to learn from one of the best in the game, the guy who's teaching the pros how to get it done. And he was telling me, man, like this defense, it's unique. What they did to Russell Wilson was special. And the spies they put on him with Tate Crowder, the linebackers, the safeties, Logan Ryan, what kind of role is he playing? Darnay Holmes, how is his development coming along? And like he said, he's been the wide receiver. He knows both sides of the field and what they're looking at. So it's really, really special. Before we dive into the film, though, Anthony, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to, dive into the film, take a look at this dominant Giants defense, and really just absorb and learn a lot from Brian as we break down the film on these defensive backs.
Absolutely. So we'll dive right into it here.
Okay. So just real quick, just kind of when I'm studying Coach Graham's philosophy, I noticed that he's big on discipline pass rush with either it's 4 or 5, they fill the passing lanes and the rushing lanes. And he's big on also a hybrid type of offense. Coach Judge and Coach Graham, they preach the more you can do, the better you are and the safer you are on the team. So that's his philosophy. I've also seen that he's well aware of his spies. He wants a guy to be savvy, smart, as well as having a great speed. So he has the pieces right now with Logan, Jabrill, and even the young rookies. So, I think this guy, Coach Graham is a beautiful mind because he's coming from Ivy League. So he's very detailed. And, of course, he has the background of the Patriots system. So, definitely get to dive in.
Yeah, absolutely. McKinney's a guy that I'm pretty excited about, too. Do you think that he can, before we dive into this, just one quick question. Logan Ryan's a free agent after the season. Do you think that McKinney and his skill set, Anthony told us a lot about him before the season, really good in cover one and moving up into the box. Do you think he can fill that, Logan Ryan role in the future?
No, I think he can because the biggest thing, even on some of the film, you see him moving around and disguising it. But he comes from the Alabama system where the guys are able to run, tackle, and think at the drop of a dime. So he's athletic enough, he's big enough, and with this staff, I think he'll be ready.
Anything's possible.
Anything's possible, yes.
All right, let's jump right into this. Love Jabrill Peppers here. Perfect coverage.
Great coverage. So just if you can rewind that real quick, and I can give you a certain synopsis. So what's going on is I noticed that the Seattle, what they like to do is empty set, and you know, Brill does a great job of showing that he might blitz. And as you can see, Russ is seeing that, and he's looking for Lockett. You know, they like to use Lockett, which is at the slot left-hand side right there, left side of the field. And right there, slot guy. And they're looking for Lockett. And what they want to do is, since they see that Brill might blitz, they're going to go right to him as a hot route. But this is where I think the rookie, Darnay Holmes, does a great job of sticking right to the hip and taking away, just planting that 1 foot and getting right to that hip, allowing for now Russell to look other places and go through his progression. But, you know, he sees everything else covered. Our guys do a great job up top. The corners do a great job bracketing. And then now he's thinking that, you know what, there's that out and up. So as you can see, Jabrill, he's playing that shoulder. He's playing the upfield shoulder. And as we worked on, you know, Russell is a guy who scrambles. And, you know, there's a lot of QBs now who move around. So we don't want to get caught with just looking at the flat route, because you never know, you know, what happens to the next play. So Brill plays the upfield shoulder as he's transitioning, attacks that hip, and plays and high points the ball. You know, it's a great thing to high point that ball, because, you know, if they throw over, it's going to go out of bounds. So Brill does a great job of blocking that guy. And as you can see, getting his shoulder, walling him off, and the best athlete wins. And that's what makes Jabrill such a unique player, because, you know, his ability to move like a corner, to hit like a linebacker, and still cover, you know, and still have the wherewithal to break up the play. So as you can see in a tight frame where they have Brill, he's in a situation where he wants to show like it's a blitz, and then actually they have the rookie, that's 2'9", McKinney.
Yep. McKinney's
so
right
they
there,
have McKinney there. And so what I like what the Giants have been doing is you don't really know who the spy is. So you can see as they're moving around, they have Williams. He's in his tech. So all they do is they do a great job of now having McKinney be the spy, having Brill go for the route. So if you rewind that real quick, you'll get a chance to see. And this is what
McKinney, yeah.
Yep, this will confuse Russell in this play. So rewind it to the beginning of where Brill is and McKinney. So now that Russell sees them moving around, Russell doesn't really know who the spy is, because everyone's moving so frequent. So you have 54, you have McKinney, and you have Brill. You don't know who's coming, who's the spy, and then you actually have Love at the top. And that's what Coach Graham does great, where Love can come down and blitz, or Love can get to the middle, or McKinney can get to the middle, and it could be a different reroute. So by McKinney moving around, Russell's not sure. So Russell right now, as you can see, he's throwing up his hands. He's actually telling the O-line whether it's two people coming to the left, one person coming to the right. So he's kind of alerting them. But like anything, if there's a hot route, he's going to throw to the easiest side of the field. So since he sees the blitz, he's looking for Lockett, which, as you see, as it transitions and comes to the screen, he'll throw to. But I just thought that McKinney right here did a great job of acting like he was going to blitz and then playing the spy. Brill recognizes that it could be an out and up. And as you see on the top of the screen where Darnay, he's pretty much cutting off Lockett, who actually did a great job against the Cardinals. He had over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Cardinals recently. So for a rookie to do this to, a Pro Bowl returner, I think he did a heck of a job. So as it transitions now, Russell sees that McKinney is his spy. He's going to look, he scrambles a little bit, looks to throw to the out and up. Everything's covered. Jabrill makes a hell of a play, and, a great deflection that actually, saves the touchdown. So,
yeah. Absolutely. And it looks like the focal point for the Giants the entire game was those spies. Those spies are really what confused Russell Wilson. And I imagine they're going to do the same thing to Kyler Murray, and he's going to be even more confused. If Russell Wilson, future Hall of Fame quarterback, can't figure it out, there's no way in my mind Kyler Murray's figuring out, who these spies are. And McKinney, they must have some faith in him, because they're playing him in a red zone situation at the beginning of the game. And they're asking him, we want you to go out there and be a spy for us. And, like you mentioned, Patrick Graham, loves these 3 safety looks, multiple safeties, moving them around the line of scrimmage. Like you mentioned before, look how many people are moving at the
Yes.
line of scrimmage in the box. You have McKinney, Blake Martinez, Jabrill's on the side, and you have Carter Coughlin. The only guy down is Leonard Williams, and then you have Love in the back.
No, and with Leonard, he's doing a great job. He's playing that 3 technique. So he's doing a great job just holding that up and actually just kind of it's crazy. I'm getting excited, but they did a twist in a sense, and it's a precursor. It foreshadows to the next play, or not even next play, but just later on down the line. But Leonard Williams does a great job twisting and just kind of taking that direction somewhere else. And you have McKinney, where, like I said before, he became the spy, and then Jabrill. It's just a trickle-down effect, because once Russell recognized there could be a blitz, he looked for Lockett. The rookie Darnay made sure he locked on his hip. McKinney made sure he became a spy, and then it just went down a domino effect where Jabrill just made a great play. So Russell went through the progression reads, and it just so happened he threw it to the out and up, but everything was covered, and that's just that's how, later down the line, foreshadowing a cover sack. That's how they were able to get a lot of sacks and, pass deflections. So,
yeah. And one guy that had a really great game was Carter Coughlin. It's really interesting to see here. Look at the pass rush here. They have Tay Crowder, a linebacker. They have Leonard Williams, interior defensive line. They have Carter Coughlin, an outside linebacker, and Xavier McKinney spying, and he's being covered up by an offensive lineman. They don't even have 3 down linemen or 2 pass rushers, really. They have a safety, a linebacker, an interior defender, and an outside linebacker. Look at the mixture, the blend of players they have rushing the passer here. It's I have to say it's unique. I don't think I've ever seen something like this against Russell Wilson, or really against most teams. What Patrick Graham did in this game, he was like, we're going to throw as much confusion at Russell Wilson as we possibly can. And it worked to perfection. I think they might have discovered a new way to play defense in this game, really.
Well, no, definitely. When you just look at it like this, offenses are now hybrid in a sense where you have tight ends who play like receivers. You have running backs who catch like receivers. So, and you have quarterbacks who run like, DBs and corners as well. So now with that being one of the statements, you have to have a hybrid type of D line, and you have to have a hybrid type of O line, and it's just great movement by the linebackers as well. So yeah,
absolutely. And Anthony, you wanna preload this one for us?
Well, I wanted to throw something out on the last play, and I want to point out that I think it's a great testament to what Patrick Graham does, because that was like a pretty simple cover 2 man defense, but what he did pre-snap with all of the movement in front, you really had no way of telling that that's what the coverage was. And that's where you keep an offense and the quarterback, even Russell Wilson, one of the greatest quarterbacks really in the history of the sport, you keep him on his toes, and you have to make him make all of these post-snap reads, and he doesn't have that that coverage laid out in front of him pre-snap. That's just, the testament to Patrick Graham. And like Brian said, that's foreshadowing what's going to come in the later portions of this game.
Absolutely. And the next play here, and Brian, you want to give us a little synopsis of what you're seeing?
So what I'm seeing now is that it could be a single high, right? So what they're showing right now is a single high man-to-man. And as you transition to the play, I like to 3-by-1. So slow it down just real quick. Okay, so right now it's just 3-by-1. Like I said before, they have DK on the bottom of the screen. I thought that Bradbury's doing a great job outside shade. And right now you see Jabrill on the bottom of the screen. You don't know if he's going to blitz. And as you can say, like we said before, they're changing up the lineup in terms of who the spy is. So Russell's seeing that. The ball snapped already. As you play, let it go real quick. Right? So bottom of the screen, Bradbury, right? And this is where I say that Bradbury's doing a great job as a, future Pro Bowl corner. He knows that a lot of times, and if you rewind it real quick, the top of the route, DK likes to give. So DK at the top of the route likes to give a few stutters and then go inside. So Bradbury sits. He's very patient with his feet. and then you could tell that he closes in. And then as Russell's scrambling, they do it out and up pretty much. But bottom of the screen, we have Love in the middle. So it's a single high, like we said before. Corner up top, playing press. And as you go, Jabrill's doing a great job underneath route and cover sack.
Yep. I love this. Bradbury reads this. I mean, he basically just super glues DK Metcalf, but this is a strange route from DK.
Yes, so I'm sure that because they have a quarterback who can move, they always have a reroute or a scramble route. You know, the offense that they have, and comes from the OC, it's kind of like the air corral, which is different from the West Coast, right? The air corral wants to take the top off, go deep first, and then work the middle, especially with a strong inside run. So as you can see, a lot of the routes, you know, can change into any other route depending upon the coverage. You know, so if it's man, it might be one, it might be a fade. If it's zone, it might want the guy to sit in the middle. So that's the difference with the West Coast offense, where the West Coast, it's all rhythm. And a lot of the times those guys have to be where they are. You know what I'm saying? Or it's just to check down. So, you know, for Russell, you know, a lot of his things, just to keep the play from maneuvering, he'll roll out. And like I said, the Giants do a great job of contain, but he'll usually roll out if he sees that inside route is not there or that crosser is not there. And then DK usually go out and up to see if he has any space. So I just think that route was unusual because once he saw Russell maneuvering, he just did it out and up. So from the tight view, real quick, if you stop where you are, rewind real quick.
Yep, gotcha.
So like I said before, they've been doing a lot of twists, and they've been disguising who their spy is. And as you can see, you have – I wish I had my buzzer right here. But you have Williams in the B gap, right? So you have Williams in the B gap, and then you have Brill right behind him, okay? So as you can see, you let it play out.
Yeah, those twists, man.
Twists. But the different thing that I saw was the gentleman, the linebacker number 48, he delayed the twist. He acted like he was going to hit the A gap, and then he took a step back. Now, they kind of collided, but by him delaying that twist, Russell doesn't see it. Now, if you look to the left of Russell, you see Jabrill. You still think that Jabrill is actually going to hit that gap, but he does a great job of play faking it and then getting right back into the middle. So I thought that was awesome because by that delay and by Jabrill holding that spot and then getting right back to the middle, it allows the linebacker to come and then attack and put pressure on Russell. So that's when it became, you know, that cover sack. So everything starts from up front. I thought that Leonard Williams is doing a great job in terms of twist and taking on the double team. And as you can see, that hole for the linebacker is just a free lane. So now Russell, and this is where a lot of times for Russell being undersized, it hurts him because it's hard for him to see over. So he has to make his throws during the pass, during the alleyway, similar to Drew Brees. So what the Giants did was make sure they kept something in his face, you know? With a bigger guy, you know, 6'6", 6'5", they can always throw over. But with smaller QBs, you can take away the pass. And I thought that delay did a great job in making sure that, you know, Russell saw one thing, and then the twist came, and then he thought of another. So that's where you could say where the D-line, the coverage of Bradbury being patient at the top of the route, and then Jabrill actually holding that spot and getting right back. So if you see from just by the freeze frame, Jabrill started off at the line of scrimmage, and he's about 15 yards back, you know? So that just shows you the movement, and then, you know, just, you know, how important Jabrill, Logan, and a lot of those DBs are because they're playing at three different levels: line of scrimmage, mid part of the field, and then the top of the route. So
yeah, absolutely. And I love to see how, you know, Russell Wilson, like you mentioned, he loves to scramble outside the pocket, and the Giants always had somebody covering up the opposite side. You know, they see on the side they have, I think it's Blake Martinez, or is that Carter Coughlin? On the left side of the screen, he's there making sure. And we see this later on in the game with Leonard Williams pulls a nasty spin move with Tay Crowder on this exact play almost. Tay Crowder breaches the gap, the A gap, And Leonard Williams is on that left tackle, and he spins off him and collects the sack as Tate Crowder pushes Russell Wilson out of the pocket. But here you have on the other side, this guy right here, who is basically, if Russell Wilson, shades out to the right side of the field, he has that covered. So I loved all these twists and stunts and all these different things they're doing at the line of scrimmage. And conveniently, we saw Xavier McKinney on both of these plays, and he only played 6 snaps yesterday. So it's really cool to see him getting in the mix, and he's in the box. Like, he's very much at the line of scrimmage, creating confusion, acting as a potential spy. And that's what they're really trying to do. They're trying to get Russell Wilson to think, who is spying on me right now? Who is the guy that's waiting for that A gap to open up, right?
Real quick, just to let you know how the spy changes I talked about. As you can see now, the spy is on the left-hand side of Russ, and it's actually the DN now. As you can see, he's not rushing. He's actually holding up the tackle, and he becomes the spy. You know what I'm saying? So they put the pressure. So now you have both sides are contained, but you have your DN number 54. Yep. So you have 54. Instead of him just rushing, which is Blake, he becomes the spy and just sits and waits, knowing that there's a twist route. So it was just, and you see that little pocket collapsing. I thought it was a great job in terms of, just making sure that Russell had someone in his face. It's almost like when you have a great shooter, basketball, and then you want to just make sure that hand is in their face. Whether they make it or not, it's just a constant, you got to look over or react. So I thought that was a great job, and it just lets you know that the Giants did a great job of shifting who the spy was, depending upon what the Seahawks were playing.
Super interesting, Anthony. What are you thinking about this?
Yeah, I just have one quick question, Alex, if you can bring it to the first camera angle on this play.
Yep.
So yeah, as it starts, if you can get it going here, we see the running back kind of run this wheel route up the sideline, and no one really goes to cover him for a while, and then Jabrill Peppers eventually runs over there to guard him. Is that a busted coverage that Russell Wilson didn't see, or what was going on there?
So I think 2 things. That is a busted coverage that Russell didn't see. I think the running back should have stayed a little bit longer if he was going to do it and block, maybe chip, and then leak out. A lot of times, Russell was being frustrated and he was getting a lot of bodies in his face. That could be a missed assignment, and he just goes to that flat. But, what I've noticed with the Seahawks offense, they like to run 2 receivers, do an in route, and then someone to the flat. So, it depends. Russell had a lot of people in his face. It's one of those things where the defense might give up the flat route instead of, the deep route. So I had a coach used to always say, take away the steak, give up the carrot,
Is that part of that offensive system where they're looking deep and then working their way down? Do you think that's possibly why he didn't get right to the flat there?
Yes. So the offensive system, like we said, the air corral, which originated with San Diego and Kellen Winslow, you want to go for the deep shot. That's their first responsibility. And then, of course, with the strong inside run and, crossers. But if the deep route is being taken away, then you just want to gain some yards and make sure the flat is out there. But they like to use their running back and their tight ends. But he's wide open. Jabrill does a great job of recognizing that. But you got to understand, Russell usually get rid of that ball in 2.8 seconds. He's been holding this game. He held 3.3, which in the NFL, 3 seconds, you're going to get sacked.
So that's exactly right. Yeah. I mean, he was really that pressure, like you mentioned, guys, bodies in his face. He's smaller. So if you get a guy like Tate Crowder in his face, he's not going to see those things. And also, his first targets, those deep crossers, to DK, those in routes, and lock it. So, if he misses those, you really just have to get that guy in his face within maybe a second and a half, 2 seconds, and you can take away those other throws. But those are, those minor missed coverages, that come back to bite you sometimes, but they did a really good job with these twists and stunts and spies to make up for some minor mistakes.
Of course.
Now what are you seeing here?
Okay. So
one guy up here.
So right now, what I'm seeing is 11 personnel. What 11 personnel pretty much is 1 running back, 1 tight end. So it just gives you versus a single high, which is 1 safety. And as you can see, as you transition to the play, right?
It's a
now,
fumble.
It's a fumble. And then Jabrill does a great job from all 22. Jabrill does a great job of recognizing there's a fumble and punches the ball as Russell tries to regroup. By him punching the ball, he allows for the defense to come and recover, and then that just one of the many turnovers. So freeze to there, right? So there's more to it, as you can see. I want to even get to Leonard Williams. So if we were just rewind it back just a second. So right now, before there's a motion, Leonard is in a B gap, right? Pretty much he's in 3 technique, and then the nose tackle is in the 1. He's playing 1, and he's in the A gap, of course. So the center is recognizing, seeing Leonard. So they're looking for who's the blitzer. So as it motions, you can let it go. And then pause right there. Leonard takes that switch. By Leonard taking a step down and then going right to the A, he puts pressure on the center. So by him putting pressure on the center now, the center recognizes, I got to hike the ball and then get my hands on, if not one of the best D linemen in the game. So by Leonard making that adjustment, now that puts alert from the center and puts an issue where Russell is. So just transitioning to where Brill is, if you notice, as Leonard switches, Jabrill switches with the DN, right? So
I can go back a little bit just to show that.
Yep. So as you can see, Brill starts from outside. He makes a switch, he makes an adjustment. And as the play is going on, there's a fumble. They're recognizing there's a fumble. And like I said, you can see that center feels the presence of Leonard. He's taking a step down. And so now he feels like he has to double. And, for centers, they got to make sure they hike the ball, get their hands. And, of course, if one of the guys you got to get your hands on is playing the best football in the NFL, sometimes you can tend to get nervous and, fumble the ball. So Brill does a great job. The ball's fumbled, and you can let that go real quick. Brill does a great job of seeing it, punching the ball out. And like I said, all 11 defenders rally to the ball. So, that play, even though you see a lot of people doing the right things and it's alignment, but that play really is just kind of shows what the Giants have been doing, just keeping a solid foundation with the pressure that they put on there. So by the twist, or not even the twist, but by the adjustment by Leonard Williams, putting that pressure on the center, that allows the center to fumble. And Jabrill makes a great play on punching the ball. So
that's so interesting. So basically, and Leonard Williams has the autonomy to basically make this decision. I'm going to shift down. Since he's playing such great football, they're probably giving him that ability. And do you think that this is the center's fault that this ball is fumbled? It's a poor snap because he realizes I have to get my hands on one of the best players in football right now, and I have to snap this ball pretty much as fast as possible. And because of that, Russell Wilson drops it. So you think this is really attributed to Leonard Williams?
And like anything, it does attribute to Leonard Williams because, as you can see, they're all pointing to the left, but they're not recognizing Leonard Williams at all. So I don't think they recognize. Right. I don't think they noticed that Leonard was going to take a step down. And now, similar, he's like a 2-eye, which is he's inside shade of the guard. So by him putting inside shade of the guard, he's putting pressure on that center. And you know what? I hate saying it's that one fault, but the center lost his concentration, and that's a plus for Leonard Williams, and it's a fumble for the Seahawks.
Wow. I would have never been able to see that without Brian. That's why he's the man.
So, yeah, and like I said, Jabrill makes a heads-up play and punches the ball out, and they recover,
Incredible. Anthony, what are you thinking? Give you your take.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, because Alex mentioned that Leonard Williams has the autonomy there. Is that Leonard Williams making the decision to shift down, or is that something that Patrick Graham might have told them to do pre-snap to confuse the offense?
So it could be two things. If they see a motion, obviously if you can go to the all 22, because that's the tight.
The other look.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So if you notice DK on the top of the route, he's motioning down. And I think, and this is from me, but it was a fumble. I think they wanted to do a rocket screen, just to kind of give DK the ball. But as he fumbled, he wasn't able to, and then it just kind of bounced off. So I think the play was just drifted off, off of the motion, and they just adjusted to where they wanted to go. you know?
Yeah,
So
that makes
like I
sense.
said, Coach Graham I'm sure he gives his vets the opportunity to recognize that, and
Mhm.
they can change, and that's what makes a hybrid defense so great. Once you see the offense shift, you can change into another type of coverage, and I think that was the most, in terms of why they did that. But like ultimately, they did a great job in terms of Leonard Williams putting pressure on that center and creating that fumble. You know.
Yep.
Absolutely. And, one guy who's been playing really well in transitioning to this play is Isaac Yiadom. He's gotten so much better this season. He's a former third round pick. Dave Gettleman and the Giants traded a seventh rounder for him. And, the first couple of weeks, it was tough for him. It was tough to, get acclimated with this system. But now that he's learning Patrick Graham's scheme and really the communication abilities of this, he's gotten significantly better, and he's played really well the past 2 weeks. Like, right here, he's playing a lot of zone and shading to that center of the field, really. But what do you see from Isaac Yiadom that you really like? Because he has a totally different approach than Bradbury right here. What is he trying to do? Like, what do you see from those two comparably, and why he's been playing so well?
I think he's just playing within the system. I think sometimes a lot of corners can tend to do too much and not trust what the D coordinator is playing. I think he understands what his role is, and you have a great front. You have athletic safeties. So right here, what I'm seeing is he's making sure that and if you could just rewind it real quick, he's making sure that he's getting to the top of the route, you know? The biggest thing, and we're talking about the bottom corner, number 27, he's doing a great job of walling off. Like anything, you don't have to worry because, you have a lot of other guys making plays, and the D-line has just been putting pressure. So he's just doing his assignments and making sure his alignment is correct. All right. So he's been very solid, very steady. I can definitely attest to that. So
I really like how they squeeze. They're on these 9 routes. Basically, they're just squeezing the line of the boundary, which is something you'd want to see from those corners, right? You want to see them squeezing that as far as possible to the sideline to make it a more difficult throw.
Yes. So rewind it to the beginning, and then you can just to where you were at from before.
There we go.
Right here. So what I've noticed with Seattle and what the Giants do a great job of doing and not showing what their coverage is. Seattle likes to motion their running backs and their tight ends just to see if it's man or zone. So as you can see, the H-back is motioning just to see who's following. And right here, what I like what the secondary is doing is they're maneuvering. So now what they're showing like it could be a cover 2 or a cover 4, right? Depending upon the alignment and assignment, if you let it play out, they go right to cover 3. So pause right there. So the Giants are doing a great job of showing one thing and then playing the next. So they showed like it was 4, right? And then they went right to 3. So that's something that allowed, by them disguising 1, it allowed the blitz to hold up. I know a lot of times with Graham's defense, he likes to play zone blitz. So I think it was a great job. Knowing that you have a receiver like DK, cover 3, you can take over. You can make sure you can have your corner just play that fade route, and then you have underneath help. I mean, it's amazing, especially with the type of offense that you have, taking away that middle. So yeah, they did a great job in terms of this, showing one thing and then going right into cover 3.
Yeah, and honestly, it looks like they knew this play was coming. Like you said before, Russell Wilson, this is basically just go routes by the outside receivers, and they cover 3 this to perfection. These guys just follow them downfield, and then you have Love over top just in case, who seems like he has that sideline to sideline range.
Yeah.
We see it a little bit later in the film, but that's Russell Wilson. Like, what do you do here? Unless you're putting this ball in the most perfect place possible, there's nowhere to go with it.
No, it's tough, and like anything, the reason why they do motion is to see if it's a man or a zone. But if it goes from cover 4 to cover 3, a lot of times it's going to take after the snap to recognize that. And with that zone blitz, it's too late by the time you know.
Right. Anthony, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I just want to point out, like, Jabrill Peppers here. runs through, I think, two people en route to the sack. And I just think that's,
Yep.
incredible to see from the safety position. And like, what really goes into that? What kind of training does he have to go through in the offseason to be able to make a play like this, where he pretty much looks like a linebacker from the safety position?
No, definitely. Like Jabrill has said in the past, he does cross training. He not just lifting and running and DB work. He does boxing. Focus on just concentration and making sure his strike points. He's an advocate and just maintaining any type of physical fitness. He's big on well, of course, he's a track guy, so he's just big
Mm-hmm.
on making sure he stays explosive. And I always like to say that this is a young man who stays motivated and hungry. And as you can see, there was a different type of hunger on this play because
Yeah.
prior to that, him and Carson had a collision, and Carson kind of got the best of him in that collision before. And I think Jabrill already had it in his head, knowing and working with him, that he was looking to get Carson back. Just to kind of, from the tight frame, and just to go even into what Coach Graham is doing, rewind it back real quick, just to show you what the so this is a 3-4, as you can see. They have, and how is it 3-4? They got 3 down linemen, both with their D ends are in the B gap, right? And then they have their nose right in front of the center. Okay, so what you can see is what they're doing now is they're gonna do it like a twist. So as you let it go or let it play, boom. So they do a twist. By them doing a twist, and wind it back.
I'll play it a couple times.
And like I said, Coach Graham was doing a lot of changing up. So by them doing a twist, Jabrill actually was free. Now, that tackle had to take on the DN, and that allows Brill one-on-one actually with the H-back. H-back misses, and Brill, like I said before, had his own battle with Carson. That was just a me versus you play. And Brill just, because that right there should be stopped. It's 2 versus 1 versus Jabrill. And this is where I say that there are players who make impact plays. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times it's not just the X's and O's and it's the Jimmys and Joes. The fact that he went against 2 guys and blew up the play, like Russell clearly, and this is not Russell's fault, this is more or less that Jabrill had a will and he wanted to get to the quarterback.
Yeah, that's incredible that he managed to bulldoze Chris Carson like that. And he's Chris Carson's a tough son of a gun.
And Chris Carson had help. And so that's the thing.
Yeah.
When I was watching that and I saw that, I go, oh, okay, he was locked in and he was focused.
Oh yeah. I mean, he wants this so bad. I mean, and Russell Wilson has nowhere to go. You know, the right tackle gets beat. He was screwed from the beginning.
And I rewinded to the beginning real quick. What I liked what Coach Graham did is by him twisting the DN, right? It allowed Brill to attack that B gap because he knew that tackle had to make sure that DN was covered. You know, because you never want to put a DN with the H back or a tight end. You know, at times. So that tackle had to get outside, and Brill had full momentum, almost like he's running 100 meters, and he went straight ahead. So, you know.
Not Carson on his butt, too.
With 2 guys. And that was one of the plays where Russell Wilson now in his head is thinking, okay, well, they're putting added pressure. I got to get rid of this ball faster. So.
Yeah, and that's that Bosco energy, right?
That's that Bosco energy. Boy, that's that East Orange. I call it the East Orange swag, man. A lot of those guys are great ball players out there. So.
Yeah, no, you're right. And it's crazy to see, you know, Jabrill making this step forward in his game. He came into the season, I think, more in shape than I've ever seen him. He's leaner. He's just looking incredible the past 2 weeks against the run too. He's really turning into the player that we expected him to be when the Giants traded for him. I was so excited because I know he's a New York kid. Is he from Jersey or New York? Because I know he went to Bosco.
From Jersey. Yep.
He's from Jersey. Okay, I'll give you the Jersey credit. I'm a New Yorker, so I can't give you too much credit for everything. But Peppers, man, I mean, he's got the New Jersey attitude. I'll tell you that. And he's coming here and he wants to win with this team. It's very clear to me that he wants to win with this team, and he's taking things personally, and he has that energy, man. I always, on every podcast, I'm like, I got the Jabrill Peppers energy today. It shows up on game day and certainly in the film.
Definitely. He's always been a program changer in terms of what he's done with Paramus Catholic, from beating the Boscos and the Joes, and even getting to Michigan and changing that landscape with Harbaugh. Even though they didn't get a chance to win national title, they still put pressure on Ohio State with those guys. So I think for him coming back home, and it's just a perfect thing that, the guys who learned from one of the greatest coaches with Bill Belichick are now the head coach and the D coordinator. And the thing about Bill Belichick is he does a great job of putting the players in the right position to make a play. That's details. And it's all about the details. And it's one thing as I'm studying and watching, the players are continue to say, I just feel like the coaches are putting us in the best situation. And and for players, you can't argue that. And it makes you want to play with confidence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what Leonard Williams said. If you like winning, you like Joe Judge's style. That's the reality. He's coming from, the Sabins, the Belichicks of the world. In his last season with New England, he was the special teams coordinator and the wide receiver coach. That's a lot of duties for one guy to have. And, he's bringing over, and different than Pat Shurmur, he worked with both sides of the ball, right? He worked with defenders and offensive players, not just offensive or defensive players. So he's really coming in with an appreciation. Like, what can these guys do in every phase of the game? How can we use them as multiples? And you see it with these safeties using, coming down into the box, dropping into coverage, doing so many things. Jabrill Peppers is a punt returner. Deion Lewis is a kick returner. We're seeing, all of these guys contribute in many different ways, and especially the rookies. What I loved what he's done with the rookies is that he's making them earn their way through the special teams, right? He's not just putting McKinney in. He's not just putting Carter Coughlin, Cam Brown. He's like, I want you guys to excel on special teams. Prove to me that you can do well on this before we pretty much promote you to getting starting reps. And, Nico Lalos is the same kind of player there. So it's really cool to see this system. It's different than I've ever seen with the Giants, how they're really operating with these players and making them do the hard work before they're given the opportunity.
No, definitely. Just kind of speaking on Coach Judge, like you said, he worked with offense and defense. That kind of just lets you know that, he loves people, and the more value you do and more you can do on the field, the better you are for the team, and it starts from the head top. If the head coach was a special teams coach, a receiver coach, and was involved in a lot of the designing of offense and defense, it just shows that anyone and everyone, if you can do more, then you're going to be activated and playing, just like the young man Nico. He's proven his opportunities well. So, and I like just studying the Giants defense. I call it the 2020, because it's unpredictable. And right now with 2020, the most predictable thing is that things have just been unpredictable. So
right. Spot on.
I was looking at the way they were playing, and I'm like, this is not textbook. I'm seeing a DB play a D tackle, or I'm seeing a linebacker twist, but it's working. And that's what we talked about from before with Russell. This is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. It's putting him in a bind, and he's recognizing things. He's like, okay, wait a minute. I'm expecting this, but I think it's just they're doing a great job in just communicating what the scheme is.
Yep. Absolutely. Here it looks like, and this is Logan Ryan here. I mean, they always look like with Logan Ryan, they're in a too deep look here, but he always drifts up into that box. He's always doing something interesting. Actually, I want to ask you this. He always has his body, or very often he has his body parallel to the sidelines, and in the safety look, that's interesting because, you see it from the cornerbacks time and again, but when it comes to a safety in the middle of the field with his body parallel to the sideline, like what is advantage is that? Is he trying to bait the quarterback into thinking maybe he's running in or running back and just having that ability to shift gears?
So like we just talked about before, because it's such a hybrid defense, I think Logan Ryan might be the only one, if I don't want to say only one, but he might be one of the vets who has freedom to move around as long as he gets to a spot. So as I'm seeing right here, it might be he's just moving back and forth, just to give Russell a different look, like he might be going, like the other safety might be going cover 3. Because the last time screen before, they showed cover 4 and went right to 3. So I think Logan is giving off the vibes that I might come down and get right in the middle. So as it transitions, you let it go, it goes right back to too high. But see how he kind of just walks back?
Mm-hmm.
Just pause right there.
I'll go back a little bit.
Yeah, back up a little bit. So I think Logan has that freedom, and if you just move it back a little bit more, it has that freedom to maybe even walk down. And even when we talked about Jabrill, where he was at the line of scrimmage and he went right to the middle and went right back out, I think Coach Graham has trust in the guys that if you do what you're supposed to do and get to your points, you have all the freedom to disguise things, and that's what makes a great hybrid type of defense. So, yeah, definitely. And just even breaking down this clip in terms of Bradbury, like I said, he's been playing great ball, knowing that he has too high. He's very patient with his feet. And like I said before, yes, Metcalf is a freak. He's physically gifted. But a lot of times when you have guys who are that fast, it's very hard for them to break down, you know? And even how I teach a lot of my guys, most fast receivers usually aren't the best route runners. But this is what makes Tyreek Hill special, because he's a great route runner, kind of drifting off. But with Metcalf, he's so big and strong, and when he has to make a break, he really has to sit down. So as you can see, Bradbury is really being patient with his feet and not just bailing out because he's fast. Bradbury knows he has over-the-top help, so he's playing a trail technique. So all the DBs below are all playing a trail technique, and with that trail technique is they're allowing the receivers to cross, but they're playing the back hip, right? So if it's an intermediate route, they can break on that ball. And if Russell or any other quarterback decides they want to throw over the head, you have those safeties ready to pick it off. So Bradbury does, like I said, just kind of repeating, does a great job at sitting at that route, sees that DK is doing an in route, and just breaks on that ball. He just breaks on the route.
Yeah, and I love how he has that inside hip too. You know, like that was the inside leverage there. It forces Russell Wilson. You know, he has the inside there. It forces Russell Wilson to throw that ball high and away. You know, making that pocket even smaller for him to throw into. And anything you can do to make it improbable that he completes that pass is obviously a win. So I think this is, you know, pretty much perfect coverage by Bradbury here, and obviously. It's out of the range of DK, and he's a tall guy, you know, so this has to be pinpoint. Otherwise, he's not getting this.
Bradbury is the perfect corner right now for this defense. And even, you know, I don't want to say he's just like Jalen Ramsey, but he has the same body type. And as you can see, that gave DK mismatches and nightmares. You know, a guy who's just as tall, you know, and who can actually just run. So it was a great job by the Giants of recognizing that and having faith in Bradbury and playing that trail technique. I thought that the bottom screen, I thought that Darnay Holmes did a great job. So as you can see, as I was saying, as you can see right here, if you pause, Darnay's playing the press route. Jabrill's still, you know, moving around just like how Logan is. But if you let it go real quick, Darnay's being patient with his feet. Takes a step in, and he does a great job with that trail. So what Seattle likes to do, because Russell is not the biggest quarterback, and like I said before, they like to give him alleyways, they like to give him passing lanes. Whenever there's a blitz-type defense and you need to just throw a quick and easy route, the easiest throw, and I always tell my guys, is inside. So as you can see, they have two guys doing a crossing route, right? So two guys going shallow. They have the young man that Darnay's on, Lockett, who actually gave Arizona 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's amazing. But Darnay is doing a great job being physical and making sure he stays on that hip. Russell sees that. And then coming across over the top is Bradbury on DK. So as you can see, they're splitting that. But Russell doesn't have anywhere to throw. But they both do a great job on just making that trail and cutting it off. So, and making sure, like I said before, making sure they stop the over-the-top route. So that play, what Seattle likes to do, is called a shallow, pretty much. Or, yeah. And just kind of foreshadowing to another play from later on down. They'll run that. And there's a play, if there's ever a single high, which means one safety, they'll usually call it a spear, where they'll run that right to that single safety and kind of make him choose. But this play right here, because Russell is not the biggest quarterback, and you know that the Giants like the blitz, they call it shallow, so they can throw something quick and easy and have yards after the catch. But the Giants do a great job of making sure they have too high and making sure that the DBs are playing trail in perfect technique.
Absolutely. Anthony, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm just like wondering, what is the strategy when going up against a guy like DK Metcalf, who's so large and so fast? What's the strategy from the cornerback's perspective?
The best strategy is, he's big, strong, and fast, so you want to keep everything in front of you. I always look at the way Darrelle Revis played in the years when he played Randy Moss and Terrell Owens. You want to maintain, if I'm going to play press on a bigger man like that, and he's that fast, if I reach and he gets around me, it's hard for me to recover. So a lot of times there's a technique, if I'm playing man, like a motor technique, and all you're doing is inching out and making sure that you keep him in front of you. And then if he chooses whatever, left or right, I can do 2 shuffles. Those 2 shuffles allows me, or kick step, those 2 shuffles allows me to stay in front and play the top shoulder. So I always tell my guys, you're not going to always be the biggest guy or the strongest guy or the fastest guy, but if you play different technique, right, and stay in front of that guy, then you're able to make a play on anything. So I like to say that motor technique, and when you're dealing with a guy like DK, if I'm playing off, and I'm a big believer, for me, that a lot of times I want to see a receiver run the right route. So I might play off and see if he can run a route. Aaron Glenn, who used to play with the Jets, he was a smaller DB, and he played off coverage just to see if those big, strong, fast guys could run the correct route. And if they were sloppy with their route, he would just read that and break on the ball. At the end of the day, you're not just going against the receiver. You're going against the quarterback. You're going against the angle of how you plant. And so it's just a great job, great pass rush, and even better job breaking on the ball.
Absolutely. And we'll start to go a little hyperspeed here because I don't want to take your entire day up with this film breakdowns, but I'm learning so much. It's pretty incredible. The knowledge that you're giving to all of our subscribers, but also just us, we want to learn about the game, and especially Patrick Graham's defense, because he's hopefully going to be here for a very long time. I don't think we can afford to lose him.
Definitely. So just kind of rewind. So playing from the top, as you can see, is tight on the bottom screen. Let it play out real quick. Okay, so this was something that I was surprised about. The fact that they have been playing too high. It looked like they played a cover 0 right here, where there was no safety. There was no single.
Yeah.
There was no too high. It was just lock up, man to man. And you can tell they're playing some sort of 0 because the DBs are playing back and making sure they're keeping everything in front of them, And they did it the right way. It wasn't press where Russell can see, okay, it's man, let me just throw it up top. But it was all the DBs were playing off, and the way the Giants defense is such a hybrid, you don't know if it's cover 0, cover 1, or cover 3 because you have so many athletic DBs that one guy like Logan or Jabrill can get right into the middle of the field. So that's what makes a great job of having athletic safeties like McKinley, Jabrill Peppers, and Logan, and even Darnay Holmes, who does a great job of, getting to the curl, the flat, and cover 3. So they're playing a cover 0 right here, but they're making it seem like they could do other movement, which now is confusing Wilson.
Right. Yeah, and I want to see, on Bradbury here, because this is a nice throw to DK. It's basically just man coverage here, and he's kind of playing off the ball. So is there anything different you could have done here? Is this, this is just you're expecting your guys to get to Russell Wilson before he makes this throw?
So like I said before, 2 things. Knowing that DK is so talented and he's so fast, and I know that I don't have safety help, I'm a little more reluctant to play press because if I miss, he's gone. Right? So Bradbury does a great job of playing off. Make sure as you can see, he's inside. So you want to take away the inside. DK, and now Bradbury's forcing DK to run a route. Let me see if you're a route runner, if you're the best receiver in the league. DK rounds his route, right? That pressure's getting to Wilson. And what Bradbury does, he just takes that foot, he doesn't round his plant and gets right to the ball. I think he makes a great play on that ball.
Yep. He almost gets there too. And honestly, you really, against a player like that, you're just trying to not let him blow the top off the defense.
That's it. You know, there's sometimes you have one of those things where you just want to make a tackle, get to the next play, you know? So
Exactly.
Yeah, and if you can rewind it real quick, Alex, because I want to point this out here because I think this is really well done by DK Metcalf. If you see right here at the beginning of the route, he's got his head down, and it looks like he's going to run a 9. He's just going to run a go. And I think that's really what forces Bradbury to kind of drift back a little bit more because, you know, it's cover 0. You don't want to get beat over top. And I think that's really where he wins the leverage to the outside and is able to win on that out route.
That's great. Yeah, definitely. You can see he's in a I call it the drive phase in track when it's the first 10 meters, 20 meters where you're just chin down and you're just pumping your arms and acting like you want to run a go. And then a lot of times he's such a big man. As you can see his shoulder pads start to lift and his knees start to get high. He just rolls right out. And that's actually for a lot of receivers, a lot of big receivers. If they're going out so hard, like they're going to run a fade and then they just do an out route, a lot of them, it's hard for them to stop on that dime. So they'll slow up and just do a rollout. So, yeah, you know,
Gotcha.
like anything, it's a battle. You got a top 5 receiver, and, you know, I'd rather take that than 60-yard, you know, bomb.
Right.
So
Just watch from this angle just for a second.
And then,
It's good throw.
Yeah, that's a hell of a
throw.
Like, you have an all-pro quarterback, all-pro receiver. That's one of those things where that's just a great throw. And that right there is just timing. That just shows you I'm going to throw it to the point, and that's where you're going to
Just be there.
Like anything. The advantage that they have, and I always tell my DBs, the quarterback and the receiver do know where they're going. So, you know, at times you just got to be aware of the situation.
Right. It's good. Sometimes you give up those plays so you can live another day.
So you can live another, and it's cover 0. Like I said, you got to.
Yeah. You're screwed from the beginning if you're a DB. All right. So you got a single high right now, right? I can't tell who that is back there.
Looks like Peppers, right? I think that's
I think
Jabrill
it's Peppers back
playing
there.
a single high
Cool how
safety role.
he's dropping into that free safety role too, you know?
Yeah. So as you can see, Jabrill's been playing all over the field. He's been a linebacker. He's been a Sam. He's playing single high right now, and you can let it play out. So one of the things that we talked about from before is that just knowing that you just got to get to the point and make a solid tackle. I think with DK being such a great receiver and Wilson starting to figure things out, they know that the Giants want to take over the top. They don't want anybody to go deep on them. So they're going to keep showing like they're going to run a fade and just continue to clear it out and do an out route.
Yep. Basically the same play from before. He just gets away from it this time.
So now.
Okay. Yeah. So it's a very short yardage situation here, but James Bradbury is still playing pretty far off of the wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Is that just because he has to respect DK Metcalf's ability to run like a go route, especially against a single high safety, or is there something else that comes into play there?
So if you notice at the top of the screen, if that the one corner, the slot corner is playing press, you kind of notice that where he's at right now, Bradbury can't be that close to DK because if anything, if they do a type of cross or whatever it may be, they might run into each other. So one has to be up, one has to be back. So that's kind of the dynamic with Bradbury. He's in a situation, I guess to say he's in a pickle. You got to play off because your slot corner is playing inside. But, you know, the good thing that Jabrill is aware of the fact that, you know what, I got DK on one side. Let me shade over to there.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, the good thing for he was there too, because otherwise DK's gone. He's on my fantasy team, so I might have enjoyed that actually.
So if you notice,
nice throw again.
Yep, that's a great throw. If you notice Logan, he's similar to what Brill's doing. acting like he's going to blitz that B, and then he pops out. So it's the same thing. So if you hold that, it's similar to the same play where Bro got a sack, but instead of Jabrill Logan blitzing, he takes that motion, that back out for the bubble.
Yep, and you can see Russell Wilson looking right at him too, so he's thinking he might be coming at me.
So now they're playing mind games and they're changing up the scheme.
Yep, and then he gets that ball out so fast because he probably thinks that ball. He's Logan Ryan's blitzing right here. I got to get this ball out fast. He throws this almost immediately.
So once you recognize there's a blitz, most of all the routes are timing routes.
Mm-hmm. Bam. Okay, Peppers going back again.
Okay.
Blake Martinez just falls down in the middle of the field.
So, yeah, as you rewind it. All right. Yeah, I see him. So, let it play out real quick. Yeah, poor Blake.
He got lucky on that one. Yeah, he's like, oh, damn, my foot hurts. But that was a nice play. Darnay Holmes. Those are the two rookies, by the way. Tay Crowder, Darnay Holmes coming up with this. Oh, is that what happened?
It looks like he's retying his shoe.
He came out with a back injury, so I'm not sure. I don't think it was a foot thing.
Oh, yeah, well, could have been that.
I think this play you can actually say Darnay Holmes actually got himself the interception. So if you rewind it real quick.
Yeah.
So right now you see Darnay, you don't know if he's coming or going. He acts like I said before, a lot of these guys move around. It looked like it was a 3, as you can see Logan to the top, but then you see Logan coming on an angle as you let it play out. Holmes they go right to cover 3. Holmes gets to the curl to flat, and by him taking away the curl to flat, it allows Russell to kind of look and try to get rid of that ball. Like I said, Russell has now he's been beaten up. He's almost drunk. In his mind, I got to get rid of the ball. I got to get rid of the ball. So now when he sees that curl to flat is gone, he's thinking, I got to get rid of the ball. It zooms right past the running back, bounces right off the helmet. Darnay makes a great.
Yeah. It's interesting, though, because you see Darnay here. If he throws that curl to flat, he's going 6. He's going to the house.
He's going 6. And you can see Russell looking right at that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Darnay is trying to hide. He's trying to hide behind his offensive line, just kind of ducking down a little bit, trying to bait him to that throw. And he still ends up with the interception anyway, which is pretty impressive from him to recognize
he's
that.
taking away the wide side of the field. You think about, look at all that leverage because you have 2 receivers right there, and they're basically just going to the sticks. So Darnay's doing a great job of making sure that curl to flat, or even if you do that hitch route or whatever it may be, he still can be there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And this is just a really bad catch attempt. I think it was Chris Carson.
Like I said before, with Russell being shorter of the quarterback, a lot of times you want to get rid of that ball and you take away the alley and the viewpoint. So by him doing that, it's just one of those things where you kind of got to credit to the pass rush and Coach Grant,
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, see the other. And I just want to show this 1 second. I love Leonard Williams at the end of this play.
He's rejuvenated. He went from the Jets to the Giants. He's living the life.
I know. At first, it didn't seem like such a good move for him.
Living the dream right now. Definitely.
Oh,
yeah, now he's living it. Now he has a personal record in sacks.
Definitely screaming, "Where's the meatloaf? The meatloaf!"
Oh yeah.
He's living.
Yeah, or the greenbacks. Yeah, no, you're right. Look at that. It's gorgeous.
And look, by that, they're taking away the passing lanes. So Russell's he's not able to even see that. And when you can use 4 down linemen to put pressure, it just makes the game so much easier for the DBs.
Mm-hmm. That's 100% right. And look, and honestly, the reaction time from Tay Crowder here, to knock this ball up after that, that has to be like quick twitch, throw your arm up. And bam, and Darnay Holmes, this is, I guess just the scheme, knowing where to be. And he's in the right place at the right time. And this is, the difference. The Giants are one of the best teams in turnovers this year with the defense. So it's really cool to see these rookies showing up and understanding an NFL level scheme at this time in their first season.
So, like, real quick, just to kind of rewind that, when we talked about the turnovers, Darnay and how he got that interception is flying to the ball. You know what I'm saying? Of course, he had to curl the flat, but if he didn't fly to the ball, that ball would just dropped on the ground. So that just credits what Coach Graham and what Coach Judge definitely, of course, are teaching. Fly to the ball, and good things happen.
100%. Anthony, you got anything to add?
Just, Darnay Holmes is working all the way over here, and he gets all the way to the middle of the field, actually to the opposite hash. It's just great closeout speed, great rotation there, and, great big play by the two rookies.
No, definitely. And I actually had the chance to I had the chance where Darnay worked with me for about a month. And the biggest thing that stood out was just, I thought he was a vet. He was so calm and so confident, but he was such a leader. He was a humble warrior. He worked hard. Yes, sir. No, sir. Comes from a great family. So he's been prepped for NFL life. Dad is a mentor for a lot of the kids. And Darnay is he has the character. I always tell kids, talent gets you to the door, but character opens the door for you. And this shows as a rookie, you've never played NFL ball, but the fact of the matter is for him to come up during a pandemic, during no off season really, and or preseason, and just play right away, it just shows how, even special he is, and could be a great outside corner from years on down.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he has shown us that he can be that guy, and he's been working with Sterling Shepard in the slot all this past offseason. So, when you're working on with a guy like that, one of the best red zone route runners from the slot, I mean, you're going to get better,
Agreed. Clip 9. So just from the top, they're playing a cover 6, which is two below and cover 4 up top. So cover 6, you can see on the bottom screen that the corner is playing the flat, right? With the safety over the top. And I want to say that's the nickel or the outside linebacker playing curl to flat. Up top, they have a cover 4 where you can see
Crowder.
Bradbury playing over the top, making sure we take that away. And, this is one of those plays where Russell does a check down and, just got rallied to the ball. I think a lot of times when the game is going so fast, you could take just having a proper angle. For a lot of corners and a lot of DBs, when you're playing a zone or coming off the block, just making sure that if you can squeeze that back to your linebackers, DNs, and everyone else, it could stop a good play. But yeah, this is one of those things where, you're playing a great team and they just made a play, Russell checked down.
Absolutely.
It was the Giants did a great job. Like I said, that cover 6 call was great. And unfortunately, it was just one of those things where, guy caught the ball and
can't win them all.
Can't win them all. No.
And I like Bradbury here too, with just that forcing DK to squeeze on that sideline.
That just goes to show you right there, Bradbury's aware. We want to take away the fade route. And pretty much DK was he was in a dogfight all night. The Giants did a great job. And like I said, what confused Russell Wilson was that they changed up the coverages. Right there as a cover 6 right there. Russell doesn't know what's going on, but he just had to check it down.
Okay, cool. Yes, we have 2 high here.
Okay.
I think it's Logan Ryan and Julian Love.
So, yep. So, just so you know, the Seahawks like to run a slide route. So what a slide route is, they usually would lock it. What happens is Lockett will allow everything else to go in front of him, and he'll just do a quick cross, right? He just cross the line of scrimmage where him and Wilson. So that motion right there allows Wilson to recognize if it's man or zone. So right now, by him seeing that motion, he sees it, Brill takes it, and that's where you see that slide route by Lockett. Now, if you rewind that real quick, like I said, the Seahawks like to use Lockett in the red zone, So this is where, and earlier I had a conversation with Darnay when we talked about Lockett. This is where Darnay did a great job of film study. Darnay recognized that the Seahawks use Lockett a lot in terms of red zone, and that slide route is where Darnay does a great job being over the top. Wilson's looking for him, so he sees that Lockett is covered. So now his next progression is he wants to give it to the best receiver on his team, DK. But Bradbury does a great job because it's a cover two. Not cover two, it's too high. He does a great job of running a trail technique and pretty much takes away that underneath route. Safety's over the top, and they bracket that. That's just a great job of the coverage and assignment to alignment, But everything really starts from Darnay making sure that he takes away that slide route. So you can see Brill is up front. Brill, of course, changing it. He's motioning. So Wilson says, look, there's the motion. Make sure you're aware. Right? Brill takes that tight end. Darnay, as you can freeze frame, Darnay taking away Lockett. And, of course, the pressure from the front is doing such a great job now that even closing the gap where Wilson can't even scramble. So they're doing a great job with it. And then now Wilson is looking – they see the slide route is taken away, and they go look for Bradbury.
He gets nailed, too.
And he gets nailed.
Wilson gets
nailed.
By Carter Coughlin. Oof.
Yep.
Ooh, yeah.
That'll rattle your brain a little bit on the next play.
And you can see they're well coached, the Giants. You can see they're well coached because there was no helmet to Wilson. It was straight shoulder pads.
Yeah.
And safety over the top. That's why it's too high with the trail technique. And I have to say that everything really started from the communication between Jabrill and Darnay. They did a great job on that switch route, and Darnay did a great job of taking away that slide route that the Seahawks like to do. And of course, Bradbury. Perfect. It was just everyone rallied to the ball, and it was just a great job doing assignments.
It was a hell of a throw. Wow, that throw was nasty.
It's a hell of a it's a hell of a throw. Because you have
that throw is in the only place where it's possible to be caught there. So that really was an impressive throw. But like Brian mentioned, the coverage by Darnay Holmes on the slide route was perfect. And then Bradbury is also really tight coverage here too. So he really gave Russell Wilson nowhere to go with the ball.
And the slide route is really their bread and butter. Like I said before, their goal is, because Wilson is a smaller quarterback, their goal is to make sure that there's windows. And with that slide route with Lockett, if you take that away, the window becomes smaller. So, Wilson does a great job of kind of avoiding it, but he takes the punishment and just says, let me just throw it to a point. The Giants do a great job of messing up the timing of what's going on with the offense.
So, you see Lockett here take this step, like he's like had this little hesitation. Would sometimes he kind of do like a wham route, like he'd go back to the other side, or is this just to throw Holmes off?
So Lockett does do a wham route, but I think that he saw that Darnay was such in great position. He wanted to get Darnay out of the type of position so he can just cross his face. Because what Lockett is, he's very deceptive, and that 1-2 route, he's a basketball guy. So that 1-2 route that he tried to give him was just to make sure that Darnay was out of position, but it didn't work, and it was a great job overall.
Right.
So if you look at it, let it play out. So we'll rewind it because it looks like it turns into cover 3 if you look at it. Because you got 3 guys.
Yeah, Bradbury goes deep.
Yep.
Right.
So that's just one of those things where, like I said, the Giants are just changing what they do. They do a great job of it, but it even got me looking to see. Keep going. Let it out. Yeah, they do it. It turns into a cover. But this is what's happening now. And if you could stop real quick, what's happening now, Seahawks are realizing because the Giants like to disguise their coverages, the only way you can kill that is by doing a hurry up. So now the Seahawks are going hurry up. And
I noticed that too.
So they tried that, and it actually started working. But like I said before, once you get that, you kind of can adjust to it.
Right. Yeah, I noticed that too because while the Giants were substituting players off the field, they were getting to the line of scrimmage and trying to get those plays off really quickly. Yeah. And look, they're so jumbled right here. This is you would think that they would have an advantage on this. There's a couple plays where it happens, but they still managed to get into pretty good shape at the end of it. And they got that spy of Carter Coughlin again. But the thing is here, like you could see, they're starting to recognize that we got to identify those spies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're filling those gaps.
Yeah, no, like I said, Coach Graham is all about alignment, assignment, and responsibilities, and filling the gap with his front. So the way they changed that and went to cover 3, it took Wilson off, but Wilson's the type of quarterback he can scramble and create more time. And like anything, as with the cover 3, which is usually designed to stop the run, you know, once he's in pass and he's scrambling, it's just hard to defend at times, you know. So this right here is the last clip. You can see there in an empty, you know, and this is just pretty much kind of a lapse in terms of just from the hurry up and what they were doing from before. But if you let it play out, you see Brill's up top at the corner. And the fact of the matter is, you know, you can tell that the whole game they were trying to give DK the ball. I think with the DBs and even just with Brill and a lot in the safety, everyone got kind of locked in on DK. And I think Russell saw that everyone was covered by him scrambling. And like I said, with a cover 3, the whole point of a cover 3 is really to stop the run. But by him scrambling, it's hard for 3 guys and you got receivers moving around. That was just one of those plays where, you know, with a great all-pro quarterback, he's going to allow time. It's one of those things where it makes it tougher to make that play. But that's something I think that, you know, Arizona will try to take advantage of and the Giants will be prepared for.
Yeah. They don't. It seems like Arizona doesn't push their running backs that far downfield often. And, you know, that's going to be interesting to see how they do. I imagine they're going to do something very similar with Kyler Murray, right? Trying to mitigate those
no,
those
definitely
throws and really confuse him.
Because, you know, with Bradbury underneath, like I said, the way Russell was extending that play is just one of those things where, you know, as a DB, the more you're in coverage, the more dangerous it is for us, you know, and, you know, the quarterback can see all 22 while you're just kind of playing aside. So.
Absolutely. It's a nasty throw.
That's a great throw. You know, he's a baseball guy, so it was no air to it. If he put air to it, Brill's definitely going to be able to pick that off. But that was just such a great throw. It went right to the plane. So.
Yeah. This is the throws that Kyler Murray makes too, another baseball guy. So we're going to probably see a lot of this, you know, a little bit smaller. I don't know if he has that type of arm strength, but he can make those throws.
He definitely can.
All right, man. Well, that's a lot of film and if you've made it this long in the video, you've probably learned a thing or two from Brian, who's you know, done a phenomenal job with us today. And Brian, I know you have a busy day. I know you have something to do. But I just want to thank you on behalf of, you know, the Fireside Giants community and us just teaching us all about defensive backs. And I got to get me one of those t-shirts because it looks really nice.
I was going to say the same thing. I like that shirt. That is a nice design.
Thank you. You know, like I said before, the goal and the objective is just to make this game fun. And I love the fact what you guys are doing and bringing awareness to a lot of men and women. And I'm just happy that everyone's, you know, our Giants are looking like, you know, we can make a great run for the future. I'm excited because I learned more in terms of what Coach Graham and Coach Judge is doing. I'm impressed. I always said to myself, I thought Brill would do great in that type of system, the Patriots system, where they move around a lot of their players. This, to me, is a great way to get guys involved. And you could tell from the defensive side, they're having fun. Everybody's flying around, and it's just a resurgence in terms of the city. So I'm excited for these guys. I'm excited to learn more and see what goes on, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, we've been waiting a while for them to be a good team. It's been a couple of years since we started covering the Giants, and finally they're winning. And we're seeing some of the guys you've worked with, Darnay Holmes, Jabrill Peppers, stepping up and having phenomenal seasons. Especially Holmes, who's a rookie, is really incredible. So kudos to you, man, for teaching these guys some of their skills and, you know, refining them and making this Giants team really fun to watch again. So I really want to thank you again, just on behalf of all of us, for taking the time to really break this down.
No, definitely. I definitely will say this. You know, it's been a blessing. Those guys were easy to work with. You know, like anything, you can't teach talent, but you know, and you you can't teach the effort too. And those guys brought both of it. They were mentors to a lot of my younger guys. So I was humble enough to have them around. And it was just a pleasure. They represent the Giants well. They gave back to the community when they were coming there, signing autographs and talking to a lot of the kids. At one point, it was like 30 kids there. And I felt bad for those guys, but be told they were awesome. And I appreciate them. They're like a family. So.
Absolutely. Well, we'll catch you next time, Brian, and we'll definitely stay in touch. We'll have you back on in the future to break down some more great Giants film.
All right, no problem. No problem.
All right, catch you later.
See you, buddy. Bye.
Thanks, Brian.
No problem. Have a good one.
You too.
You too.